Welcome back to our countdown of the top 10 stories of the year.
Here's a look at the next 3 stories on our list.
More than 2 years after he was arrested and accused of murdering his fellow police officer, Torre Jr. finally stood trial for the shooting death of Albert Piolo. Opening statements were given on January 30th. While the prosecution argued that Piolo died at the hands of a drunk and belligerent Torre Jr., the defense maintained Piolo shot himself and that Torre Jr. was trying to stop him. On day 13 of the 15-day trial, Torre Jr. took the stand, testifying that he and Piolo were drinking in Tumon. Torre Jr. said he blacked out.
My next memory is I hear a loud boom and I feel a concussion, as if a gun or a bomb, just a loud boom. And at that moment, it's like a flash where your eyes are open and I'm standing by the driver's side and there's a side of a person partially on the driver's seat area where it's just blood coming out.
After nearly 3 days of deliberations, the jury found Torre Jr. guilty of negligent homicide, aggravated assault as a third-degree felony, plus guilty on the special allegations of possession and use of a deadly weapon in the commission of a felony. He was acquitted for murder, manslaughter, and aggravated assault in the second degree. Piolo's family couldn't believe the verdict.
I lost my brother. And what do? You walk away. That's like a slap on the wrist. You know? My brother's served GPD and for 14 years, dude. And he has 4 kids. You know? He had so much things in his life ahead of him. And he did a good deed to drop you home. And what he gets, you do this to him, blindsided him.
In June, Torre Jr. was sentenced to 8 years in prison, but he's been under house arrest pending an appeal.
2017 brought the end of casino gambling at the Liberation Carnival with the introduction of Bill 50 by Senator Talina Nelson in March.
I hope this passes is because gambling is an addiction that affects our families and our communities. And if we had the ability to do good, then we should start having the courage to fight for what is right and what is good.
The introduction was immediately opposed by the Mayor's Council of Guam, which uses the revenue from the Carnival Casino to pay for things like fireworks and entertainment.
If the gaming part is ceased, then please amend the law, which places the responsibility of the Mayor's Council of Guam. Get it away from us.
While the mayors opposed the legislation, anti-gambling group Keep Guam Good and Linatlasin Casino led the movement to get it passed.
Ultimately, really, that's really what we want. We ultimately did away with what I call poker machines in every village, okay? And we devised Linatlasin Casino because to me it was really, I think the poker machines are ending up being really what we call a mini casino, and it's bad for the people of Guam. It's bad for the economy.
On June 8th, Bill 50 passed unanimously. After its passage, Governor DeCalvo said although he's never been a fan of gambling, the legislature took away the funding the mayors needed on the eve of Liberation festivities without providing alternate resources to fund the festivities. The governor let the legislation lapse into law. As the number of child sex abuse lawsuits against the Archdiocese of Agana continues to climb, 2017 saw major changes for the Catholic Church. It was in March, Coadjutor Archbishop Michael Burns announced the establishment of a settlement fund of $1 million to aid victims of child sex abuse. About 1 month later, the church then announced the creation of Hope and Healing Guam, an independent third-party nonprofit organization dedicated to addressing the lawsuits. Attorney Michael Caspino of California was announced the executive director.
There is a great deal of pain on this island that has been caused by this abuse. And we want to do everything we can to help in that pain.
Throughout the remainder of 2017, there were motions that were argued in cases filed in the federal and local courts of Guam. But in October, Coadjutor Archbishop Michael Burns announced the closure and potential sale of the Redemptorist Mater Seminary in Jotnia. The RMS had been at the center of controversy between organizations like the Concerned Catholics of Guam and the Neo-Catechumenal Way.
My main reason for closing the seminary is that it's just not a sustainable model for the Archdiocese of Ganya.
A part of the rush to close the doors to the RMS was to fund the anticipated settlement of the more than 100 clergy sex abuse lawsuits against the church.
With an expectation of potential settlement, we will need a certain lead time for the property to be kind of available. And so with an expected settlement time in March, April, as we've heard, I thought this was the more appropriate time to close.
Keep it here. We are getting closer to the #1 story of the year.
But first, Facebook was a huge deal for us, spawning countless conversations online. Here are the topics you engaged with the most in 2017.